Hello everyone, welcome back to WHU TV. It's nice to see you, hope you're keeping well. This is a really quick video, hopefully. I'm going to talk about the January transfer window and why, in my personal opinion, I think David Moyes and David Sullivan have probably relegated us. So let's jump into it. I'm not going to do the sponsor, you know the details anyway, but yeah, so let's have a recap first of all of the transfer window, the outs more specifically. As you guys know from the video that I did a few days ago, well, a week or so ago now, we sold Dawson to Wolves for £3.3 million. It was confirmed on deadline day that Harrison Aspie has gone to Newcastle, about to say New Zealand then, Newcastle for £3 million. Connor Coventry has been loaned out, so that's not exactly going to be a freebie either. There's going to be probably a loan deposit like most clubs do. You know, there's a couple of million here, a couple of million there, that sort of thing. Probably, I'm thinking maybe £500,000, maybe maximum 300,000-400,000, something like that. Darren Randolph allegedly sold. Yeah, it seems that he's gone on a free. It's a bit weird on that one. Neves, I should say, was loaned out, and again probably 300,000 to 400,000 fee for that. Greenidge was sold as well. Probably, again, it wasn't really said, but it's normally about 200,000 or 300,000 for a junior. As was Ekwa as well, and Longello going to Birmingham as well. So give or take a few 100,000. I'm kind of thinking we've made about 8.5 million out of the sales in the players that we've sold in the January transfer window and loaned out. And the ins, of course, Danny Ings, 10.5 million plus add-ons up to £15 million. That 2.5 year deal, as I said in the video when the news broke about him, that 10.5 plus the additional add-ons up to 15 are going to be paid over a 2.5 year season. 2.5 year period, I should say. We brought in Luizao, I think you pronounced that, on a free, just before the January transfer window started. So obviously it was confirmed on the first day, but it was all agreed inwards. So I kind of think, in a way, we've kind of spent, after the sales and after the spending, we've probably spent no more than £3.5 million, I reckon. No more than that. Which is typical for January transfer windows, especially for when West Ham's concerned, I should say. But I do question it. Now I know, it's been reported, and quite rightly so, from the reliable sources, that David Moyes has been quoted to say that he's happy with the squad, and I think this is the reason why he feels that it is. The summer buys, right? I did some double checking on transfermarket.co.uk. For some random reason, that website, even though for UK domain name, they're still using euros as they do for the .com. So I had to do a bit of a conversion. It looks like we spent about £160 million ish, and we sold just over £15.5 million ish, give or take. So net spend over that really is around about maybe just under 145 million. I reckon about 143, 144 million pounds. So summing that up together, the total season overish is around about 100, maybe 148, 147 million pounds, which isn't to be sniffed at. Now, if you saw the reaction video I did to the accounts, you'll know going into this season, West Ham were in a profit of £143 million, which is fantastic. So some of that would have been used, not all of it, but some of that would have been used for the January transfer and the summer transfer windows for this season. But at the same point, it's not good enough. It really, really isn't good enough. And guys, you know how much of a big fan I am of David Moyes, but even I've lost my patience with him over the last few months. I really, really have. I love the guy. I think he's a very, very good manager, but I still maintain he's hit the glass ceiling, and that is the reason why I think he is preparing. That's why I think he thinks he's happy with the squad. I mean, you look at it from a flip side. Regardless of all the bullshit that's come out over the last few weeks, You know, Antonio, Scamacca, Danny Ings up front. That's not a bad choice going into a normal season, much less going into January. Yes, Scamacca's going to be out for a few weeks, as you'll find out in the preview, as is Ings. For the Newcastle preview, I'm going to be recording that straight after this, and that'll be available tomorrow. But the right back situation still needs to be sorted. The left back situation still needs to be sorted, especially bearing in mind Creswell is coming to the end of his contract. The centre back situation needs to be sorted, bearing in mind Ogbonna is coming to the end of his contract, as is Fabianski soon as well, for that matter. I know this, but there was talk that they'd have extended, but we haven't heard anything. So I don't think it has. I don't think it's gone through. I really, really don't. Otherwise, they would have meant... You know, it might come up in the next few weeks. Who knows? But at the same point, you know, I was reading some articles earlier today, more specifically The Athletic, and West Ham have the oldest squad in the Premier League. Average age of 27 years and 69 days, I think it is, something like that. Literally ahead of Fulham and ahead of Newcastle. Newcastle are second and Fulham are third in the table of ages squad. And you know we've got Michail Antonio pushing for a leave. You know we've got we know that didn't happen because obviously Ings getting injured. In kind of like the same way that Carlton Cole was meant to go to West Brom a few years ago. You know, or you know what I'm talking about. And you know, as I say, we've got Souček, he seems to hit a bit of form. You know, for a little bit, especially in the FA Cup game. I thought he was phenomenal in that. If anybody watched the derby, watch along with us. You know, and it's just, you know, we've got Benrahma, to a lesser extent, Lanzini, definitely 27, 28, coming to if not over the hill in terms of his abilities. You know, we've got a youngish squad. 27 isn't bad, but at the same point, when you compare it to other clubs, and I know you should never do it, you should never compare clubs with each other because it's irrelevant. But at the same point, we've still got the oldest squad going in, and obviously, of course, you know that's Areola, that's Bonner, that's Creswell, that's you know the Soufal, I guess you can class in there. Souček. I still can't figure out which one it's meant to be. But yeah, you know, all of that enclosed. I mean, you could lump into that Aguerd because he's not exactly young either. Neither is really. I mean, Zuma is okay in that age range, but I do genuinely think that David Sullivan and David Moyes have not learnt a fucking thing over the last few seasons. I really don't think they have. But at the same point, it's the inflated prices that are pushing us back, as it is with you and I when we're trying to make sure we've got food on the table and heating on the radiator and the lights are on, you know, clothes on our back. You know, it's difficult, but I'm not making excuses for him in any shape or form, but the prices are getting ridiculous now. You know, 15, 16 million for an average player, which would have 10 years ago would have been 5 or 6. You know, it's getting stupid. It really is. But I still think the recruitment system needs to be sorted out. I still think that David Sullivan needs to buck his ideas up and either sell up in the next 18 months or really just dig out a few more coffers. You know, I know David Moyes is very stubborn. We know that, Dithering Dave, etc., etc. But at the same point, guys, I do genuinely think that they haven't learned. And I hope in 3 months' time, 3.5 months' time, when the season finishes, we're not saying these windows have been catastrophic. Because let's not forget, when we moved to the London Stadium, we brought in 11 players, which didn't work out properly. And, you know, between the two windows, we've done roughly the same. Is that an indication of the history? And is that an indication of the future? Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So I'm going to go off and put the last few bits together for the Newcastle preview. But in the meantime, guys, look after yourselves. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you very, very soon. All the best now. Take care.